Hi, I'm Susan. Join me as we discover what the St. John's budget process really means to you. St. John's is a city unlike any other. Why? Because the people who live here make us special. Our community members need different things from their city, and we must adapt our civic priorities to meet those needs through careful planning. And you can help. Every year, the City of St. John's spends about $300 million providing core services such as fire protection, garbage collection, snow clearing, recreation, and community programs. These services are necessary to keep the city running and make it an enjoyable place to live. Expenditures, money going out, and revenue, money coming in, are projected annually in the city budget. Although the city uses a 3-year planning process, we're required by legislation to submit a balanced budget each year, and right now we're preparing for our 2017 budget. So what is a budget, and what's involved in the process? Think about your household expenses. You have a certain amount of revenue coming into your household. Let's say you have 2 salaries. All your expenses for the year, rent, groceries, clothing, heat and light, gas, school programs, and so on, must all come from your revenue in order to have a balanced budget. So what happens if your household expenses exceed your income? Well, you're in debt. The City of St. John's must ensure our expenses balance with our revenue through our budget process. The city has a few different revenue streams. 24% of our budget comes from user fees for programs and services, like the cost of swimming lessons or renting a facility, permits, fines, and government grants and subsidies. Water and property taxes cover the remaining 76% of the city's operating expenses. Although taxation affects us all differently, all residential property tax is calculated using the same method. All property owners have their land and buildings assessed every 3 years by professional assessors who use industry standards to make sure the process is fair and equitable. The mill rate is set by council based on how much revenue is needed to operate the city annually. Municipal tax is based on the value of your assessment multiplied by the mill rate. So, for example, if your property was valued at $200,000 and the mill rate is set at 5.0, you would pay $1,000 in municipal taxes. So how is your tax dollar spent? Almost 70% of city expenses are for core services such as water and wastewater, garbage and recycling, transportation and roads, fire protection, parks, recreation, and planning. The rest comes from general expenses that keep the city running and able to deliver those core services. If we take a closer look at one expense category, let's pick transportation. We can break it down to see how a single dollar from taxation gets spent. The way the budget has worked in recent years, road maintenance costs about 17 cents of every dollar spent in transportation. That includes pothole repairs, road painting, and sidewalk repairs. All of the equipment, contracts, and people who maintain our roads are covered in this cost center. Snow clearing is a big expense for the City of St. John's. We need to budget 31 cents of every transportation dollar here to ensure that our roads and sidewalks are safe to use during the harsh winter months. Street lighting also falls into this category. About 10 cents of the transportation dollar has been allocated here annually for the repair and expected upgrades required each year. The subsidy for Metrobus and accessible transit costs make up the biggest part of our transportation dollar at 32 cents. There are a lot of people, vehicles, administration, and fuel used to provide this vital service to the city. And finally, 10 cents of the transportation dollar goes to administration, which oversees the entire operation. By listening to your needs as residents and taxpayers, we can adjust what we spend and where we spend it based on the priorities of our community as a whole. Transportation is just one part of the overall operating budget for the City of St. John's. This budget covers all of the day-to-day activities and expenses at the city. There's also a capital budget for the big investments like new roads, new buildings, or maintaining the city's existing infrastructure. The 2017 budget process is focused on just the operating side of our finances, and we need to make every dollar count. To do that, we need to hear from you. Have your say about the City of St. John's 2017 budget. Visit engagestjohns.ca to learn more.